Welcome to our introduction to Charlie. The reason we got here is because lenders need to reduce that cost to originate. MBA's latest figures of 11.5, 25% of that is manufacturing costs, and that's where we focus on trying to get some costs out. Lenders need modern architecture in order to take advantage of all the new tech that's coming at us right now. We need everything all in one place. We need our LOS and POS and VI and AI all easily available to us. And we also need automation and multiple workflow options. So what Charlie provides is just that, a one-stop shop. And we've seen this kind of tech before when we needed everything right in the palm of our hands. We are not just a point of sale or a loan origination system. We are a production optimization platform. That's taken deliberately from the manufacturing world because we manufacture mortgages. What it does for you is provide that point of sale, the loan origination system, business intelligence, AI, automated workflows, and multi-user access, which also includes the borrower in our world, because the borrower is just another actor in the loan file, and they are in the same system with us at the same time. So there's no worry about missyncing of data or uploads or downloads. The reason we can do all this is because our founders are not Silicon Valley guys who jumped into the mortgage space. These are folks who have already solved for big mortgage issues. Ty Jenkins, founder of DocuTech, digitized mortgage documents. Larry Huff and Dr. Yvonne Darius, co-founders of Optimal Blue, digitized the PPE process. And Jeff Benjamin, who was head of sales at Ellie Mae for 19 years, in the industry for 20 years prior to that, certainly knows his way around an LOS. You'll find the same with our management team. These are all mortgage people building mortgage solutions for mortgage people. When we talk about architecture and modern architecture, why is this important? Speed. One of our lenders had a health check done on their system and spent 5,000 hours a year waiting for screens to load. That's 2.5 people's times, not to mention the frustration and the cost of that inefficiency. Ability to absorb new tech. AI just came along in the last 6 to 9 months and changed everything. We don't even know what the next thing is, but our system has to be nimble enough and modern enough to be able to ingest appropriately all these new technologies as they come out. We dynamically change screens. We don't just give you a new list of screens to look at, but the data within that loan file and changes within the data will change what the screen looks like and what fields are exposed. Now, I'll do a quick overview of the navigation, starting on the right-hand side with a summary of the transaction. What this does is provide us with everything we need to know in great detail about the loan file. Additional detail across the icons here. And then if I need more real estate on this page, I just exit out and it moves the summary away. I can always pull that back up again as needed. On the left-hand side is our navigation. And this is where we have on the far left our documents, activities, conditions, fees. Here are our progress items, and what this replaces the need for things like that nebulous milestone, where this is a specific review of credit, assets, income, employment, and what is the status of that review. In the middle of the loan is the body of the detail. So we've got tabs across giving me all the detail I need, and then the informational cards drawing my attention to things that need attention. So what we're going to do is take a quick overview of Charlie. We're going to look at the borrower's experience, the loan officer's experience, a little bit behind the scenes for operations, and also some on reporting. Let's get started. I'm now logged in as a loan officer. What I see is, of course, a pipeline view, which I can see all of my list of all of my loans and sort and search those as necessary. But what we focus people on is not a list of loans that I then have to pick up and figure out what to do. We focus people on what do I need to do based on who I am, based on my skill set, based on what the type of work that's been assigned to me. As a loan officer, I've got things like you have a new application that just came in, open it up and take a look. You've got a lock that expired, you need to go in and renew that. If I am someone like an underwriter, I'm going to see a different list of activities. Maybe I'm an FHA underwriter or a conventional underwriter or a deal desk pre-approval underwriter or second signature. Those are the activities that will show up in my queue. If I am a processor type, I might have multiple different skill sets, income, assets, employment, credit. Those are the types of activities that will show up, as well as documents that need review as soon as those documents are available to be reviewed. So the idea is to put the work in front of the person as soon as it becomes available to be worked on. And because we allow multiple people in the file at the same time, I can get in there as soon as the work's available for me to do, and I don't have to wait for someone to get out of the system for me to do it right then. This prevents those deal killers that lurk for 2 weeks in a loan file before it finally hits the milestone of the person who can actually review those. When we get real specific, it could be someone along the lines of, all I know how to do is review pay stubs for a W-2 borrower, and that's all that's going to show up in my queue. And we can easily move people in and out of queues depending on the work that needs to be done. So back to the loan officer. Multiple different tools for loan officers, the first of which is called the loan structure tool. So I've got someone on the phone. I don't know if this is going to turn into a deal yet, so I'm just going to start by putting a few pieces of information here. So I add a rate. I can see the deal start to build by the green boxes that are starting to change. I'll add a purchase price, and borrower tells me he's going to put 20% down, but I could also easily put in a dollar amount there. And then he tells me he makes about $8,500 a month. I can now see the PITI, I can see the DTI, and I can see if this loan is going to go anywhere. Now, if it's not, I can discard it. I've not collected any NPI. I've not started a loan file. If I do like it and the borrower is happy with this, then I can create the loan right from here. And it's going to remember, of course, everything that I have input. Now, if we wanted to start a loan, we can start from the structure tool, or we can create a loan right from here. By putting a few pieces of information in, you can decide what's going to be mandatory here. It knows who I am, what organization I belong to, and I can capture my referral source. It's only going to surface the fields that are applicable. So if I say this is going to be a purchase, you see the purchase price pop up, as well as what type of loan is it? Conventional. Purchase price again, a new loan, we're going to say $750. I'm going to put 20% down. It needs the state that's required, so it makes sure that I'm licensed, and then I create the loan. Now what this does is open up multiple different work streams for me depending on what I want to do next. So it might be that I want to jump right into the loan file. Maybe I am going to go into the IRLA and fill that out with the borrower right now. Or maybe the borrower just wants rates. It's only going to open up the fields that are required to be able to get this job done that I'm asking it to do right now. Maybe the borrower says, I'm too busy, send me a link, I'll fill it out myself tonight. And I can do that also right from here. So again, intuitive workflows behind each one of these options so that you can get your work done in one spot. And when we talk about loan structure, we can also use that within an existing loan file. So this is a file that's in process. And the borrower said he was going to put 20% down, called back and said, you know something, what does it look like if I put 10 down? Am I still going to qualify? What's my PITI going to look like? Now, if they like their new payment, still looks like they're going to qualify. And up to a certain point, I can confirm those changes into the loan file. After a certain point, like it's final approved or they're sitting at the closing table, this button won't light up for me and I'm going to have to follow a different process to go changing terms of the loan at that point. But from here, again, if I'm still able to, I can confirm those changes into the loan file. It's going to pop up a change of circumstance if required and log that so it goes into your disclosure flow to make sure that that gets disclosed. Now we still also have the full IRLA. So if you're old-fashioned loan officer like I was, I'm going to sit down with somebody, fill it out. But we make it easy to do here. Very easy, chunked up so I can see what I need to fill out. I can see all the details of the loan. I can see all the documents on this loan without having to go anywhere else. And I can open those up, drag them off the monitor, and take a look at those there, any documents that have been received or requested. My services tab is also right here, so I can order those services right from this screen. Now back to my activities queue, I have a borrower who submitted a loan online. It automatically, I can receive a text or an email telling me that that happened, but it's also going to show up in my queue as an activity. And behind each one of these activities, no matter who I am or what type of activity it is, it's going to be an intuitive workspace that allows me to complete that activity in one place. So this tells me all of the details that the borrower who applied has submitted, and I can go behind the scenes and walk through each one of these and edit as needed. I can next through the screens here. As we get down to things like employment and income, it's going to start to surface things like, do we have an employment gap here? Do we have a 2-year history here? And it also gives me the summary and any documents that have been received again and requested right here. We can, when we get to the credit screen, we can order the credit report. I can upgrade it. I can reissue. I can order a new report, again, based on what the lender decides they want to offer here. For product and pricing, I can do that here as well. I can go out. I'm going to stay right inside Charlie, right inside the screen, be able to choose product and pricing right from here. It'll bring that into the loan file. Fees, you get Lodestar with your Charlie subscription for no additional cost. So all the fees are going to be brought in here, your third-party title fees, recording fees, transfer taxes. All the other fees are going to be triggered in based on specifics of the loan file. So conventional purchase, 80 loan to value in Connecticut, you're going to have a $350 processing fee. Investor XYZ charges a $1,000 underwriting fee, so that can be automatically placed on the loan file. So the users don't have to go behind the scenes and worry about making sure that these fees are correct before they get disclosed. At the end, I can generate a pre-qualification letter. With one click, I can make that document available to the borrower. So here's the pre-qualification letter. I can click with one button, Show Consumer. As I mentioned, the borrower is in the same loan file with us in the same system at the same time. That provides that efficiency, so I'm not having to securely send stuff back and forth. As soon as I make this available to the borrower, it's going to be in their portal ready for them to look at. And any documents that they upload are also going to be immediately available to me because, again, they're uploading them right into the same loan file. So that is a brief overview of origination. Let's take a quick look at the borrower. Now, this is the borrower in Charlie. Again, not a separate portal, not a bolted on point of sale. This is the borrower's experience inside the same loan file that you were just in as a loan officer. What I see over here is what I really want to know, which is not you're in process or you've been sent to closing. Is my credit any good? Did my employer get back to you? Do I have enough income or assets to get through this loan file? So all of the statuses are shown to me here. No detail behind them as there will be for you as a lender, but this will show me the statuses that I really want to know about. In fact, if I'm on here and people are working in the loan file, I can actually see them change lifetime. Anything that you're asking me for is going to be listed in my activities. So we saw the loan officer's activities. These are activities that have been specifically assigned to the borrower. Again, could be automatically based on details that the borrower has input or that the loan officer has input. So if we look at things like the lease agreement, the borrower input that they had an REO. So it's going to ask for the lease. Now, these are not underwriting conditions that have been reworded for borrowers. The way we treat conditions is most will be automatically added, again, based on what's going on in the loan file. But instead of putting a condition out there and hoping that somebody knows what the underwriter meant and hoping that they actually get to it and hoping that they know how to clear that condition, we break down the conditions into actionable activities, something like flood insurance, for instance. You can automatically order the flood cert. System automatically notes that it's in a flood zone, automatically adds a condition for flood insurance. But that has multiple parts to get it cleared, right? So loan officer, you need to call the borrower and talk about flood insurance. Borrower, you need to upload your flood insurance policy. Flood insurance reviewer, we just got that policy in, trigger an activity into their queue to review this policy and make sure it's going to meet the lender's requirements. So all that to say that these are borrower-based activities that are written in borrower speak and are very specific so that the borrower knows exactly what we're looking for. Now I can drag and drop documents in here. I can browse and attach. We are also mobile first, not just mobile friendly. So anyone who logs into Charlie can use any device and have a nice experience and an easy design to follow. So when we look at something like the loan application, for instance, this is what it looks like on a cell phone. Intuitive design, very easy to read and see. I can see as I go through here and fill things out. It's going to pull up my addresses. It's going to show me my status. But this is also true for the loan officer, for the underwriter, for the manager. Anyone is within Charlie is going to be able to log in on any device and be able to do what they need to do. No apps needed. So back to the borrower, to the loan officer, borrower screens here. You can have multiple different versions of that application. It can be a very simple, contact me, here's my phone number, my email. It can be the full IRLA. It can be anything in between, and it can be configured by the lender for their needs. I can see all my documents are here as well, documents that you've requested of me and documents that I've uploaded to you. I can open those up. I can download them, and save them as needed. I've also got all my contacts right here, so if I need to get in touch with someone on the lender side, I know exactly how to do that. So that was a quick overview of the borrower's experience. Let's take a look at some operations. So I'm going to jump inside a loan file. And as we saw up front, the informational cards across the top tell me what I need to know right up front. How am I on compliance, on fraud? I can see I have a disclosure event due here because the system noted that I have a change of circumstance required. So I'm going to see the red box here instead of the green. The details of the loan are also in the center here. And as we saw also, I can also see a full summary of the loan file. But again, to have a little bit more space to work, I can close that out and open it only if I need to view that. The progress items are where all the detail is behind each one of these modules. So when we look at credit, for instance, I can see that it's been completed. Now, how that got completed depends on the workflow. We can work on a queue base, which is where the credit report's received, it automatically gets queued up for someone who knows how to review and sign off on credit reports. Or I can be like an older fashioned processor where I'm inside the loan file on a loan centric basis, but I still have the same intuitive workflow here that says, okay, credit review, here is your how-to. This is exactly how we review credit reports. I've got my what I need to do, I've got my what I need to look at right here, all in one space, as well as any credit related documents, also all in one space. So I can open up the credit report if I need to, pull it off my other monitor. One thing also you'll note with all of our documents is that it picks up the date of the document, assigns the default validity period, which calculates the expiration date for you. The system's going to now monitor this against the closing date. So if you go move that closing date out, it will note that you're going to have an expired credit report if you go ahead and do that. The other thing you're going to see is these are dynamically generated, the nodes on the left-hand side. So if there were no public records, I wouldn't have a public records node. So we don't teach people to skip over stuff. We also standardize this review and we provide training for folks so they can easily go through and review the credit reports. Now, the borrower, this is directly off the IRLA. He says he did not have any judgments. Well, unfortunately for him, the credit report picked some up. So I can see the public records here. Now, we can have this dynamically generate an activity to the borrower, which we saw in the borrower portal, for an explanation and proof of payoff of that judgment. Or I can manually ask for it here. And when I ask for a request, it's automatically going to pull up just the right requests that are applicable to credit reports. So I'm going to say explain the judgment. It's going to pull up the default language. I may or may not be able to modify this. And then I can send that request right out to the borrower and it's going to show up in their portal from there. Now, depending on who I am, I might just be able to mark this as ready for underwriting. I might just be able to mark it as reviewed. I happen to be able to complete this activity, which is then going to complete the progress item for credit. And that's what turned that to a green check. Now, if there were any outstanding activities or documents that needed to be reviewed, I would not be able to complete that because, again, we don't want to teach people to skip over stuff. We want to make sure that that review is going to be complete. And this is true for each one of the progress items. You can see all the details on the front screen of each one of these. So here's income. This is all the income for all of the borrowers and the status of those. So I've got stated income here, which is why I do not have that progress item as complete. It's showing as red. Once we get to all the applicable progress items being completed, then that can show up as a request for an underwriter review. It may be that the underwriter won't see it until all of those have been marked as ready for underwriting or complete. But as we look at the underwriter review, even the underwriters can operate in one place, in one spot that shows them everything they need to know to be able to do a complete underwrite of this loan file. This shows me the status of each one of these underlying reviews too. So I can see that the credit report has been signed off on. Now, this is one of those workflow options where maybe we don't need checkers checking the checkers. If we train someone to review credit reports and they've reviewed it and they've signed off on it, then it is going to show up here as complete. So maybe it's not in my review anymore because I don't need to look at it anymore. It's already been signed off on. How the system protects you is that if it is signed off on and that credit report expires, or you add a borrower or you subtract a borrower, it's going to automatically uncheck that status, take it out of completed status, and put it back into needs review. So you never have to worry that you've signed off on something and then something changed that you weren't aware of. The system will automatically change that review status for you. We also show the underwriter what was in the file the last time they looked at it. So if they're picking this up again for the second or third time, I can see what was in there the last time I reviewed this. So I don't have to start from scratch. I can go in and say, okay, these are the only 5 things that changed. I can focus my attention just on these 5 things to do that review. Now, instead of having to go to a document list, pull up the document, and then find the right screen that that particular information goes to, when I click the Assets node, this is only going to show me asset documents and document requests. So again, I can open up that document, I can pull it off to another monitor, and I can compare that as needed to the assets that are listed there. But what you will also note with our bank statement is that this came through our Intelligent Character Recognition, or ICR. What we are doing is every document that the borrower uploads or anyone uploads, the system is going to recognize, name, and categorize as an income, asset, credit document. It's going to put it in the appropriate place. It's also going to start extracting data. There are 12 documents so far that we are already extracting data from. This took the name of the bank, and it gives me a confidence score. How confident is the system that this is the correct data? I can see the document here, but I can also see all the transactions have already been extracted from this bank statement. I can see the balance statement. I can see the statement details. I can see that there's another name on here. Now that might automatically send out a request to the borrower to explain who this other person is on the bank statement, and also assurance that they still have full access to those funds. And then again, under the document details, I can see the date of the document, the default validity period, and the expiration date that's been calculated. Again, if this passes, it's going to change that status from reviewed back to expired. When I review this, or when you decide what the trigger is, it can write the data to the loan. And that can also be done automatically, and it can be done automatically based on the confidence score. So if the confidence score is high enough, automatically write that data to the loan and put that asset in a verified status. Now, if we look at the specifics of the verified status on the assets, the asset progress item here, it's going to show me exactly where it stands. Now, if that document expired, I can see that I am all green here across the top, and that says that I have enough cash to close and enough for cash to close and reserves. But if the document expires, it's going to turn it back to red again if there's still not enough funds there. It can also automatically re-request bank statements, a new bank statement from the borrower if that statement actually expires. Now, another document we are extracting data from is the purchase contract. This helps in multiple ways. First, if you started the loan file as a TBD, and then the borrower uploaded the contract into the request that automatically went out because we know it was a purchase, you now have a TRID file. And you may or may not know it in other systems because someone has to pick up that document and input the property address. Our system will pick up the property address, automatically write that to the loan file, and then TRID, and then go down your disclosure path. But what it also picks up are contingency dates and closing dates, the purchase price, the fact that there's a $15,000 deposit that was made on this contract. That adds an asset line for $15,000 for the purchase money, the earnest money deposit. But it also picks up credits and concessions. So if someone is reading this quickly and didn't pick up the fact that there's a $5,000 sale of credit on this file, then we end up in trouble when we get more towards closing. This can pick it up, and it also is going to calculate the amount of that seller concession against the requirement for the loan product. So conventional loan, 80 or under, 6% max. It's going to compare the 5,000 to what the max is, and then potentially add activities for that to be fixed. Again, document details picked up. We can mark this as reviewed and then write that data to the loan. Now, when we talk about compliance and disclosures, you will use a doc vendor of one of our vendors that have been integrated, and I can order it right from here. it's going to know what type of order I need to do based on the status of the loan file. So I can see that I have a redisclosure event. I can see the details of that redisclosure event here. And I can also go through my redisclosure review, which walks me through, again, a standardized process before we get this disclosures out if we choose not to automate those. To send those, all I have to do is click print documents, and it's going to walk me through. I stay right inside Charlie to send those documents to the borrower. I always have a list of all of my documents here, but what we do is provide the right documents at the right time for people so that they don't have to go flipping through folder after folder looking for the appropriate documents. When we look at the credit review, it's going to surface the credit report. When we go into the underwriter decision and go into those nodes, it's going to surface the assets at the right time. So I don't have to go looking for them elsewhere. They're always served up right where they need to be. And we also surface data from all of our different services so that people don't have to look at documents. The data is going to be right there for them to be able to work with and also to drive workflow. When we look at compliance, we use Assurity's reg check is built into the system, so we can order that right from here. And we can see the details of that order here too. We can see the results of the different regs that have been run. And we can also see the report that's here, which will tell us exactly what's going on with this. What you also see here is as a new report is run, it automatically archives the previous ones that have been run. So I always know which one is the most current, and I can see exactly what's going on with this particular file. So it was a little bit on operations. We'll now jump over and take a quick look at reports. So the reporting in the system, we start off with the narrative. The narrative is going to tell you which reports you should be looking at today and why, which reports we need to focus on. We have reports on individual work completion. This shows me, in this case, what my underwriters are doing. And maybe I want to look at a specific underwriter. Maybe I want to compare two underwriters and see what their production has been. And every time I click into a data point, it's going to show me the details underneath that data point. Now, all of our reports can be uploaded to an Excel spreadsheet, but we also give you all of your data without charge so that you can upload that into whatever other BI tool you choose to use. We have our fees here so we can see any overridden fees. Of course, only certain people are going to be able to override those fees because we've brought them in from the third-party vendor. We've also, from Lodestar, we've also triggered in the exact fees on that loan file. So again, we don't want a whole bunch of people out there changing fees behind the scenes. Our compliance and key dates, this is where it's going to surface those document expirations. So this shows me that the bank statement at Wilco for the Jane Smith file is going to be 5 days shy of closing. Now, workflows have already probably been triggered to this for this. So activities have gone out for additional bank statements and review activities have been put in front of the right people. We've also got lock expirations for the same reason. This loan file is going to be 6 days shy of closing. Again, activities would have gone to the loan officer to go relock that loan or extend it. Our fallout report shows a predictive analysis based on machine learning that says based on your own production, a loan with this particular criteria has an 80% chance of falling out based on how your production acts, not an industry average. So this says your production, when you have a 3.5% down loan with a 500 FICO and 45 DTI, you've got an 80% chance of that loan with those criteria falling out. So it allows you to make smarter decisions from a workflow standpoint, potentially. Cycle times tell me how long things are taking, how long I expected them to take, and what the delta is. So again, it might be training opportunity. It might be that my expectations need to be altered. Outstanding work is an extremely important report that tells us not I have 100 loans in process and I just went to 150. I need to throw another processor into a pipeline. But instead, I have 9 loans that are waiting for an appraisal to be reviewed, and here they are. Maybe I need to stick a manager in that queue to clear out these appraisal reviews. I've got 13 loans that need verification of employment done. Maybe my closers haven't been hit by that lump of volume yet. Maybe I can pull a closer off, give them this skill set, for a week or two and have them start doing some of these verifications, or maybe I bring in a temp to do some of these, and we can clear that out again without necessarily having to add staff that we may not be able to keep once the volume decreases again. So this allows us to target our current people where they're needed and be able to be very efficient and very granular in our approach as to where people need to be. We've got standard production reports. We can also put a forecast on that says based on the reading of your production and your previous experience, this is what we predict is going to happen over the next quarter. When we look at pipeline views, one of the reports that's important also is a loan estimate sent, no intent to proceed. So what this tells me is that this guy, if I'm a loan officer, I'm watching this every day. This guy has had his disclosures for a week. I have no intent to proceed. So either he missed the memo or he's shopping me. I can jump right into the loan file, send another request out, or call him right from here too. We've got the standard close, not funded, funded, not closed, shipped, not cleared. We also allow you to write your own reports. So what this allows you to do is create a report based on any field within the loan file. There is no limit, and by choosing fields for this report, it is not going to be a pull on the system or any kind of slowdown. Every field is also audited, so every time there's a change, we snap what was there before, what was there after, who changed it, and when it was changed. So these are the standard reports, and the system that I've been showing you is our baseline system. So it does not come with a blank sheet. We show up with this baseline system, and then when we go through implementation with you, we change what needs to be changed. So that was an overview of our production optimization platform, or a POP, which combines in a holistic solution your point of sale, your LOS, BI, AI, workflow automation, and multi-user access. So this problem is your LOS, and the solution is a POP. Thank you.